The conflict between Afghanistan and Russia, commonly known as the Soviet-Afghan War, was a significant Cold War-era conflict that lasted from 1979 to 1989. Here are 10 key facts about the war. Invasion date. The Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan on December 24, 1979. The official reason given was to support the Afghan government against insurgent groups, but it was widely seen as an attempt to expand Soviet influence in the region. Soviet goals. The Soviet Union aimed to bolster the pro-Soviet government of the People's Democratic Party of Afghanistan, PDPA, and to secure its strategic interests in South Asia. The Soviet leadership, under Leonid Brezhnev, feared the rise of Islamic insurgents and the potential spread of anti-communist movements. Afghan resistance. The invasion sparked strong resistance from various Afghan factions, including Mujahideen, holy warriors groups. These insurgent groups were united by their opposition to the Soviet presence and included both secular and Islamist elements. U.S. support for Mujahideen. The United States, along with other countries such as Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and China, provided substantial support to the Mujahideen. This included financial aid, weapons, and training. The U.S. aimed to counter Soviet expansion and support anti-communist forces. Stinger missiles. One of the significant factors that turned the tide in favor of the Mujahideen was the supply of Stinger missiles by the U.S. These shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles were highly effective against Soviet helicopters and aircraft, which were crucial for Soviet operations. Casualties and impact. The war resulted in heavy casualties on both sides. Estimates suggest that around 15,000 Soviet soldiers and over 1 million Afghan civilians died. The war also led to significant internal displacement and damage within Afghanistan. International reaction. The invasion was widely condemned internationally. The United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution calling for the withdrawal of Soviet troops, and many countries imposed economic sanctions on the Soviet Union. Soviet withdrawal. The Soviet Union began withdrawing its troops in 1986 under the leadership of Mikhail Gorbachev, who sought to ease the economic and political burden of the war. The formal withdrawal was completed by February 15, 1989. Aftermath and legacy. The war left Afghanistan in a state of devastation and chaos. It contributed to the rise of the Taliban and ongoing conflict in the region. The Soviet withdrawal is often cited as a factor in the eventual dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. Geopolitical impact. The conflict had significant geopolitical ramifications. It exacerbated Cold War tensions and influenced U.S. foreign policy. The war also served as a training ground for many future Islamist militants, some of whom played roles in subsequent global conflicts. The Soviet-Afghan War remains a pivotal event in modern history, influencing both regional dynamics in South Asia and global geopolitical trends.